believe in a part of the book. What then is the reward of such among you as do this but disgrace in the life of, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent back to the most grievous chastisement. 86 These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter, so their chastisement shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped. Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? What then is the reward of such among you as do this but disgrace in the life of this world, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent back to the most grievous chastisement? And Allah is not heedless of what you do. 86 These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter, so their chastisement shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped.
I gotta do this. Do you mind? Yes, I'm gonna do something. I don't want to put my brother on the spot. See,
Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? What then is the reward of such among you as do this but disgrace in the life of this world, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent back to the most grievous chastisement? And Allah is not heedless of what you do. 86 These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter, so their chastisement shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sulaiman Rahim here, Bachelor Covenant, Breaker 7 Seals. A slight technical difficulty in the beginning, so excuse me for that. But this is just be sure, I just had a question came up. I figured I'd just address it. It's about, points what we're talking about here about believing part of scripture, believing part of scripture and disbelieving the other. So, because this was the subject they was talking about. And the question came up, well, how can they read the entire verse? So we're going to go to a couple of them and see, because there seems to be a pattern there. So let's see if let's take a look at it. Let's play a couple of things first, then about 5 minutes, then we'll be into it. Because, it's, you'll see. Hopefully you'll see.
I gotta do this. Do you mind? Yes, I'm gonna do something. I don't want to put my brother on the spot. See, this is this. This is something else. Love and faith transcends color. And the reason why we embrace Father Pfleger as a brother is because we find him on the battlefield of justice, being a true disciple of Jesus. And the last thing I'll say is, you'll never call us racist.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because this day that we honor
Yes, sir.
Master Fard Muhammad, if you see an image of him, put his image up.
Yes, sir.
That's the man whose father was a black man and his mother a Caucasian. And how many of us have a parent that's a Caucasian or grandparent? It's not about color. It's about our submission to the will of God. And in that we find common ground and unity.
Yes, sir.
So I'm only one shade lighter than you, so. And Mustafa may be 4 more shades lighter. We a family.
Yes, sir.
Let's stay a family and be a family and love each other as God would have us to love each other. We love you, Father. Happy Savior's Day.
Massive distortion of what race is. And that's why Muhammad is our race. Go by the seed. Seed. Let's move on. Why is he kissing him? It's very in the mouth. What's going on there? You know, you don't have any attachment. You don't have no natural attachment for women anymore, because they, whoever the God that he claims he's serving, I guess, willed it. He'd be transgender or something. He took his. He was a cow to begin with. I guess he didn't really need it. He took it away from him. That's a curse. And this is
Washington, D.C. Louis Farrakhan suspects that his father may have been Jewish. At least that's what he...
I'm not gonna play this whole thing, bro. This is just the first part, because I want to get to the main point.
Washington, D.C. Louis Farrakhan suspects that his father may have been Jewish. At least that's what he tells Henry Louis Gates Jr. in the current issue of the New Yorker magazine. Speaking of his father's white Portuguese parents, the Nation of Islam leader said, "I'm going to tell you something. You really want to know what I think? I think they were members of the Jewish community." He added, "I believe that in my blood, and not in a bad way. Because when I was a little boy I used to love listening to the Jewish cantors in Boston."
Okay, I guess you heard that. It's Farrakhan now, in an interview. He said his father's parents, white Portuguese Jews. He's the seed of his father. He's not seed of Abraham. His father is a Caucasian. Okay, that's comes from Farrakhan's own mouth. Interview. It's out there on it. You can Google it. It's out there. The whole interview. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. So we got questions, like I said, about why are they quoting some scripture and not quoting others? There seems to be a pattern there. So let's investigate. This is about resonance, brothers and sisters. See, it's beautiful. Something you don't see it until until it hits you. See, resonance sneaks up on you. It's invisible. Right? The process is invisible, but the impact is visible, and you can feel it. Okay, let's get into it. Now, see here. Now, this is Malachi, where he quoted today, right? Behold, I was sending you Elijah the prophet. Remember, see that before he just told you that Muhammad is still the prophets. So, can they get that story straight? And then he say Elijah the prophet here, but he said the Bible's corrupt. So the Bible's corrupted. You should ignore this, right? But he said no. You got to see that. That proves Elijah. So I mean, something's kind of quirky there, because the Bible's corrupt. Christ said you got to believe in what was built to you before you. So why would God tell you to believe something that's corrupt? But this part's okay though. They like this part. And then in it says, I didn't put that in here. Those brackets. If you Google it, those brackets are in the verse itself. That he's the end of the prophets. So what's it all about the seal of the prophet? See, seal doesn't mean the end of anything. Everybody would say the prophets are the last. They said so-called Jews, right? They said, well, Moses was the last. Jesus was the last. Everybody want to say the last. And God said, he said what he wanted to send. You don't tell them what's the last or what's the first. So here they say, and they say clearly, they don't say about no seal, the end of the prophets. So which one is right or wrong? Because Muhammad being the end of the prophets, that's interpretation, because if they want to say end, why don't they say he's the last prophet? They say no, seal of prophets, but they interpret that. The Sunnis do. And then Farrakhan going along with it. He was going along with it, but then how you justify this? Let's move on. But I should send you Elijah. Okay, you said that part. Remember, this is Malachi. This part. Now, what's the rest of it say? Okay. What's the rest of it say? I'm saying, Master, he will prepare the way for me, and Lord, you seek, shall suddenly come. Oh, wait, hold it. Right? After the messenger, he said, you're going to send Elijah. You will prepare the way for me, and the Lord whom you seek. That's who you're going to prepare the way for. And somebody you should be seeking shall suddenly come to this temple, Elijah's temple. That's Master Robert's temple. He wants to set it up. But he said suddenly come to his temple. Who the one? His messenger. So somebody suddenly come to Elijah, not synagogue, not church, not mosque, temple. Elijah had temples who Master Muhammad set up. Come to this temple, even the messenger of the covenant. So why didn't they mention that part? Why did they gloss over that? They don't want to tell you about the messenger of the covenant. But if they say this, it sounds like, why don't I want you to know about this one? Let's put them all together, all the pieces together, right? Okay. Remember, the messenger of the covenant, they don't mention that. That will come to Elijah's temple. Somebody who Elijah preparing the way for. And he's representing the covenant. Now Elijah, he's representing the covenant. Right? Okay. Remember, who should stand when he appears, right? Okay. Anyway, they didn't mention this. Why did they mention this? It's right there. Okay, let's go to the next one. What else they didn't mention? Remember, being part of the book, this and the other? And then in Malachi, another one, another person there. So, wait a minute. Only one they mention in Malachi is the God and Elijah. But there's 4 people there. There's a messenger of the covenant. They don't mention that one. He's not Elijah. So he's probably on the scene right now. Right? And they don't mention this person. Somebody's cursing, robbing the nation, and they curse. They got some kind of disease or something. Some kind of deformity or something, that's a curse. And they rob the nation. So it can't be Elijah. It Can't be matched by Muhammad. Right? It ain't the message of the covenant. So who could it be? Whoever it is, you know who they are because they curse with a curse. They got some severe deformity or disease or something, cancer or something. Whoever that person is, it's more than the next one. So what so far we got? The message of the covenant's not mentioned. This robbing the nation not mentioned. It's two people not mentioned. There's 4 people altogether only mentioned 2. Why? It's right in there, Malachi. So they just they read all around it. They actually read all around it. They pass over verses. Look, I'll show you. See here? But all the stuff down here they talked about. Purification, all that kind of stuff, but it just, like, that wasn't even there. Believing part of the book and disbelieving the other. Believing part of the book and disbelieving the other. Okay, let's look on. And then you get here. They read all of this about your seed be a stranger land, not theirs, all of that. Right? All the way up down here. Remember, this is verse 12. Verse 17, I put ellipses. I mean, you can go read it if you want to. It didn't put to the conversation, but you can read it. So I'm not hiding it. It's only verse, because I wanted to fit all this in, right? But like I said, you can go read it if you think it impacts the statement here. But look what 18. They didn't mention this. In the same day, now remember, this is a vision up here. This is a prophecy up here. This is not a prophecy. This is a contract based on the reward for this, right? The result of this prophecy. And they say seed. He going to come out seeds and seed, like the seed, and that's seed. So he said seed is one person. No, it's not English word. That seed, that means all that come from him. When they say seeds, they mean like you got different types of seed. You got apple seed, orange seed, apricot seed. Then you got seeds. See? But if you say just apple seed, it represents all of it. It's seed. So you try to make it as one person somehow, whatever you're trying to do. But they missed this part right down here. He said, the same day God made a covenant. Covenant, this is word. Saying, until I see one person, I have given this land from the river Egypt to the great river Euphrates. That's Arabia. Look at the map. No secret there. Why did they miss that one? Why did they read all of that and didn't read that part? So it's something like consistency here. It's okay. They didn't really read the message of the covenant. They bypassed that one. Didn't read the Robert nation, and didn't want to read Abraham. What's their consistency there? And then they talk about this pregnancy and the seed. Now, for years they were saying, hey man, it doesn't matter who your mother and father is. It matters today though, right? Well, where do you get the seed from? Where do you get sperm from? But they tell you that God is a man. Used to be, remember, he's the originator, he spoke of spirit, but now he's a man. But it don't matter who your mother and father is because God made you in the womb. Okay, then how you make sense of that? See, the other things, I'm trying, is there a pattern here? How do you make sense of that? Because if that's the case, and God has no spirit of spook, like they say, that's from Muhammad. That's it, period. That he's nearby a womb making babies. Because your mother and father doesn't do it. God do it. So is that matter from he's making everybody's daddy? See? So in other words, otherwise, then God must be a spirit of spook. What you need sperm and egg? He said, what you need sperm and egg for? He made that point today. So okay, so is that consistent between those 4 things there? The fact that they're saying it doesn't matter who your father is, right? That's the seed, right? Number 1. Don't mention the covenant. Don't mention Arabia. And don't mention robbing the nation. So how does they connect together? Well, in biology, that's seed. But this whole thing, Abraham covenant is based on seed. Abraham covenant based on seed. So they have to connect. these two together to make that work. So in other words, you have to be the seed of Abraham, but Farrakhan is not seed of Abraham. So therefore, they got to distort that to say, oh, no, it doesn't matter. See? To make this work. Oh, no, it doesn't matter who your father is. Because if he's not seed of Abraham, this doesn't apply to him, does it? And he's not getting the promised land. He's not going anywhere. Right? Because this is the promised land of him here. So, you follow me so far? So, to make this work, got me? This is somehow, these things seem to be came together. These four things that they disregard today, right? So it has to be somebody that sees it in question. Not sure if Abraham's seed or not, because they got to openly distort biology when it's known that he got some kind of philosophical, mystical thing going. Biology knows that whatever you are, your father is what you are, because that's the seed. But they distorting that one, and then the message of the covenant. Right? Or that person should be on the seed now. So Elijah's not the last one. Elijah was messenger, but he wasn't primary. Because the primary was messenger covenant, but that's connected back to the seed again. Because he would be connected with, he had to be Abraham's seed. Otherwise, you want to reject that. You don't want to have part of the messenger covenant, because he's not a messenger covenant for you. He's against you if you're not the seed of Abraham. So you don't want to talk about the messenger covenant if you're not the seed of Abraham, do you? Because it's not promised to you. Right? And if you're going to make all things new based on the seed, that means that's going to destroy you. So you ain't going to mess the messenger of the covenant. In fact, you don't want anybody to know about him. And then the messenger of Arabia, because that's the promised land. But if you're not Abraham's seed, that's not promised land to you. So they don't. All these things seem to be connected. Ones they're avoiding. Ones they're avoiding. And the thing about Arabia, if that's the case, then somebody's calling God a liar. Somebody's saying we ain't going nowhere, so they're calling God a liar. So they don't want to mention that one because this person, well, let's mention, right? This person that's against the message of the covenant is calling God a liar. This person that's against the message of the covenant, remember, because the covenant doesn't apply to him because he does not see Abraham. So we don't want to talk about Bob. We don't say, oh no, it doesn't matter. Because if you know he's not see Abraham, then all these other he got problems with all these other things. If he's not see Abraham, he's going to have problems with all three of these things. So he don't want to mention them. So if they don't mention these things, I mean, somebody's not mentioning them, if somebody's not see Abraham. Somebody that's not see Abraham would not mention those other three. They would not mention them. Oh, there's a connection there. If you're not see Abraham, you wouldn't mention those three, would you? No, you wouldn't. In fact, you're against it. Because you don't want you saying, I ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You say, we ain't going nowhere. That means you're also calling God a liar. You're calling God a liar. So you're not seeing Abraham. You're enemy to the message of the covenant. You want to stop that. Because remember, you want to stop that message. You want to stop that message. So you're going to do everything to block that message. Because that covenant's not for you, it's against you. Because that covenant's going to make all things new, and that's going to destroy you. So you're going to block that if you not see Abraham. And you don't want nobody to know you're not see Abraham. So, hey, it doesn't matter who your father is, which is biologically insane. He said, we ain't going nowhere because you don't want nobody to go anywhere. Because you're going nowhere, I mean, that's just your destruction. And you know you're not going nowhere because it's based on Abraham's seed. And you're not Abraham's seed, so you know you ain't going nowhere. So you're not going to be promoting that. And then get down to robbing the nation. Well, you know, the message of the covenant is supposed to, Elijah's supposed to prepare the way for him, so he's supposed to prepare the nation for the message of the covenant. But you don't stole it. You're trying to keep the nation from him. So you're robbing the nation. You're robbing him. So when men rob God, so you're robbing him of the nation. And you curse with a curse. So whoever this person is did not see Abraham. They do everything to block the message of the covenant. That message, we ain't going nowhere. And they curse. They got a real bad disease, a bad deformity or something that you would consider a curse. And most men would consider a curse if they had cancer where they took their so-called manhood away. That's the connection I get. It seems like it's an obvious connection right there. That's exactly what you would get a person. That's describing the person there. That's describing their mission. Distort biology, cover up that they not see Abraham, be against the message of the covenant, because it doesn't apply to them. Rob him of his army. And we ain't going. We ain't going nowhere because staying here. And that's what Lee just said. Please don't make me leave the country. So I started pointing out, bro, and says, I'm gonna leave that there. I mean, does it make sense to you? Because why did he leave those things out? All three of them. And they're right there. They talked about all around these things, and those verses they left out. Why? Because they read about Abraham. That means right there calling God a liar every day. They say we ain't going nowhere. He's not calling God a liar. He's not calling God a liar. And if we ain't going nowhere, you don't want the message of covenant coming to expose you. Because that's he coming to tell you about the covenant. You're going home. So you don't want that message, because that's why you ain't talking about it. So you don't want that message. You're going to stop, oppose that. You're going to do everything you can to stop that message. And if you not see Abraham, you don't want nobody to know. Because why? Because you're trying to see the people who are seed of Abraham. Trying to pretend you are the seed of Abraham. It don't matter who. See, because that's who you have to. You're deceiving them. Because you're not one of them, and you deceive them. Because you taking and robbing the people from the message of the covenant. You know this will cause your destruction because everything new. You ain't part of this. You're not see Abraham. Anything that's not see Abraham is going to be destroyed. It says that. So you're a total enemy to all of this. And those things right there, exactly the ones they miss. They talk about everything else except those things right there. So you be the judge, brother, sis. I'm going to leave it there. I started mentioning it because somebody, boy, I said, man, that's good. There's a connection there. It's a pattern. I'm not going to talk this, but like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and let this play out the other things. But I don't know, does that make sense? I don't know. That's provide information, brothers and sisters. Things new. Blow away all the engine's going to blow away all that. Make things all new. All things.
you ain't talking about us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their ways. Come out of their pagan holidays where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. The heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
Back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the horizon, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will. You and I. Turning your face from your own native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel? Acting such. And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why should not you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man say you are free. Remember that.
you ain't talking about us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their ways. Come out of their pagan holidays where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. What the heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
Back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the horizon, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will. You are now turning your face from your own native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel acting such? And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why should not you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man say you are free. Remember that.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant. Okay, brothers and sisters, it's been a year now, and We're finally home after 40 years in Arabia. I'm reporting to you from Arabia. Finally home after 40 years. Right? And so we've been here a year now. When there was an agreement made, a former slave master, he said, we had a choice. Stay here or leave. Right? So we chose our inheritance, Arabia. So we left. And half the original people decided they wanted to give up their inheritance and traded for a place in America in reconciliation with their former slave master. That's their choice. They chose, said, we don't want to go over to Arabia. We don't go over where it's sand and all that stuff. We want to stay here in America. We've been here all our lives, been here 40 years, born here, right? And we can make peace with our slave master. Okay, so they decided to stay. And so after a year, right, we're getting reports of how things are going over there, and it doesn't sound too good. How things are going over in America with their reparations, because they was given they got 6 states, I believe. Yeah, see, yeah, they got those 6 states right there. That's what Farrakhan told them. They was listening to Farrakhan. Farrakhan promised them. They stay there, 6 states, right? Had their own land, and they can make reconciliation with the former slave master. They're not devils. They're not devils. They're human beings. They just had a rough, they were just, did some things wrong, but now they're gonna make amends and make reparations. So 6 states, and in addition to that, they gave everybody $1 million. Everybody stayed $1 million. Okay? Say, thank you, Farrakhan. They're so happy. Thank you, Farrakhan. Thank you, Farrakhan. Man, you got 6 states. That's what you promised us. We got 6 states. They're thanking you. Thank you, Farrakhan. Right? And this was a year ago. They got the 6 states. Thank you, Farrakhan. Right? Everybody got $1 million. Everybody $1 million. And they're rejoicing. Oh man, they're so happy. Hey, we came, man. We made it. We got America, man. We got reconciliation for a master. We got 6 states. Everybody got $1 million. We're all rich. That was a year ago when we left. So we're in Arabia. They're still back there in America. And now we're getting reports a year later. This was the way it was a year ago, man. They were so happy. They were so happy. Right? And now we get reports of what's going on right now. Let's see. Oops, it says a power failure. Great power failure in those 6 states. Power failure. And just those 6 states. Right? So, and now they had a big and massive, they came asking to turn the power. Well, why can't they do it? Oh, Farrakhan didn't train anybody. He was telling you about 6 states, but he never prepared you for them. So nobody knows how to do it. How to turn the power grid back on. So now he's begging, man, master, can you come and turn this thing back on for us? I mean, you would think that if he told him 6 states to promise him that he would have prepared him for it, right? Their schools and education, whatever they needed for that. But now I guess they didn't, because they said over there now he's begging the former master to come and turn the power back on. And then what?
I mean, this is all that's happening now. I mean, I'm getting these imports in now. A year later, it's like they're coming in every hour. Power grid failure, right? Then say, oops, crop failure. All of a sudden, there's no. They say, they looked at the farmers when they done it. Farmers said, oh. So then, master, what's happening here? How come no? Right? Our crop. They found that the land they gave them wasn't that fertile. A year later, nothing's growing. Crop failure. And now they master, what's happening here? Right? And then, I mean, all these things, every hour that's coming in, right? And then they look, and they had, a year ago they had plenty of food on the shelves, right? And now, they look there now and all the food's gone. It's gone. She said, what am I going to do here? Food's gone. The house is empty. So he said, Master, we need some food. Well, how come you can't produce your own food? I mean, you want your own country. You got your own states. That's your country. Then you run it. What are you calling us for? Right? And so they'll be praying. And then, oops, no fuel. There's Master, no fuel there. Well, you got to buy your fuel. You got to produce your own fuel. What you calling us for? You got your own 6 states now. What you calling us for? Go and get some fuel. You got money, right? You got your own states. So you got to get your own. What you calling us for? You said you wanted your own, so now you got it. And you got your reparations, so we don't owe you anything anymore. We don't owe you anything anymore, so what you calling us for? We don't owe you anything. You said you agreed to 6 states and $1 million per person. You took that instead of your inheritance, what you call the Abrahamic covenant, Arabia. Your brothers and sisters, they left. They took that was offered to them. They took it, and you said no. I want this instead. So now you got it. So what you calling us for? Oh, no communications. Oh man. No communications, right? No medical facilities. So what's going on, Master? Wait a minute, hold on. That's you. What you calling us for? That's yours. You gotta handle that stuff. You want us to handle it for you? You want independence, now you have it. I mean, wow, this stuff is coming every hour, man. Instead of like a year, they was celebrating. And now they're crying and begging the Master, okay, we got all these problems here. I said, wait a minute, that's yours. Where'd you come about your problems? You have to work those out. Right? No transportation, I mean, no planes, no nowhere. We don't know about fly the planes and drive the trucks and the boats and stuff and to go and get this stuff. Well, what you done that for? You wanted this, you got it. So go ahead and get to train your own pilots, build your own planes, build your own boats and right? You see what I'm saying? Transportation, build your own trucks. What you calling for? Yeah, Master, we see this. You said you wanted 6 states, you got it. You want $1 million per person. That was the reparations. So now if you didn't pay people to take care of this, how's that our problem? You're independent now. You're really free now. Oops, no fuel, the gas station's empty. I can't drive, eh? And no gas. Man, wow. All this stuff happened like for a year. They thought that everything was great, and all of a sudden everything ran out. So I guess what happened? Everything was there when they got it, and then it ran out. They had to, for them to replace the fuel, to get the farms going. So they was left with that stuff. The factory was full. I mean, warehouses full. Then you had to keep They thought that was just going to, I guess they thought it was just going to be there, just by itself. They didn't prepare for it. See? And they ain't trained any engineers and scientists and architects and stuff. They ain't, you know, business, they didn't train anybody. So Farrakhan, he told you he's going to get this for you, but he didn't prepare you for it. He didn't get anybody to handle this stuff. So what was that all about? So now he asked the master, hey, don't call on me. You was here, you had it when you was here with me. You said you want independence, you wanted reparations, so you gave it to you. Well, call on your brothers over there. They left, they handled their own business. You said you want to stay here. Right? See? Don't have any professionals or technicians, scientists, doctors, none of that. See? I mean, that's what, you know, because, I mean, if you're going to set reparation, you should be preparing for that, right? So if he was telling you about reparation, you should be preparing for it. If he said, God said that's where he's going to get you, so if God told him he's going to get that for you, then he should, like when God told Noah there was a flood coming, to only build an ark, so he started building an ark. And so you should start preparing for the 6 states and the reparations, but apparently you didn't. And so now, he tells you, look, hold it. We want total separation. I mean, look, we don't want you to call us no more. We don't want you to call us no more. Because you're wearing us. You want your own country. You got your own land. Right? You got money, $1 million, all this stuff, right? And so now we got to protect your money and everything too? No, you have to create your own money. You have to do all these things, your own wealth, not ours. Right? So we're going to cut you off from that too. It's all economics. So they go and tell it. They tell all the people all the white folks, right? Because all the black folks, now all the black folks is either in Arabia or in those 6 states. That's the solution. You had to be one way or the other. There couldn't be no integration, that kind of stuff. That's the deal. He just said one or the other. So all the black folks are there. Ain't no integration, that kind of stuff, right? Black folks are there, one or the other. So they're there. So he said, okay, right? So they just say, we're going to take our money because we don't know what y'all doing over there. You have your own money. You have to find your own wealth. So what they do is they tell all the white folks, say, protect your money, right? Transfer your money into gold. Just all your dollars into gold. Okay. Now remember, they gave everybody $1 million a piece. So everybody got $1 million a piece, right? And so they transfer it to gold. And then what happens is that what they do is they start just printing money. White folks just start printing money. You understand what that means? That's inflation. Right? Because if you got $1 million of gold, a million ounces of gold, say 1 million ounces of gold, understand this, and you got 1 million certificates, then you say each certificate is worth 1 ounce. If you got 1 million ounces, each certificate is worth 1 ounce. Understand that? If you got 1 million ounces of gold, and you got 1 million certificates, each one of those certificates is worth 1 million. You know, if you want to say trade with the certificates, each one of the certificates is worth 1 ounce of gold. Right? But if you take and print, you say you got 1 million ounces of gold, and you got 1 million certificates, each one. But say you print twice as many certificates, you got 2 million. Well, then each certificate is only worth 50 cents now, because you got to connect that to the gold. Well, you print 4 times, then each one is worth a quarter. So the more you print, the less they worth, because those certificates has to equal what the gold is. You understand? So the more you print money, the less, right? The less they're worth. So if you print twice as much money, right, there's less gold. You understand? So $1 is worth 1 ounce of gold, which that's right. Then if you print double that amount of dollars, then each one's worth half an ounce. You understand? That's what printing money without increasing their wealth does. That's inflation. So what happens is they keep printing. They get down to where $100 is worth a penny. But see, that doesn't affect their people. They try to protect their money because they transfer their money to gold. So gold still has its value. It's just the dollars don't. It still got the same amount of gold. But the dollars, they get down to a penny. So you can't buy it. You had $1 million, now your $1 million worth of $5. That's all it's worth. $1. Hardly worth anything. Hey, that's our money. You gotta have your own money, you control your own wealth. You can't keep coming at us what you're doing. And you think they wouldn't do that? Yeah, you've been a Gaza lately? You see what happened to the trees they made with the so-called natives? Kept telling me you had a forked tongue because they kept making trees with them, then they broke the trees. And took their land and genocide and everything else. But no, they wouldn't do that to you. See? Because now you have, your money's worth nothing. They haven't lost anything. Because once that money's worthless, it's no good, right? Then you bury it up, throw it away, it's worth nothing. The people still got gold. And even if they take it, hold on to money, hope to increase again, they just use another different certificate, use another form of money. So it's still worth nothing. That $1 million you had, you was so happy with now, it's probably worth maybe $1. So you can't buy anything with $1. Plus the economy's collapse because everything is failing, and you don't know how to repair it. You don't know how to build communications. You don't know how to do any of this stuff. You're not an engineer, build a house, you don't know how to do anything because Farrakhan didn't. Right? He didn't prepare you. He told you he'll give you 6 days. He told you, listen to me, right? So now you're broke, and your economy is gone. You have no food, no electricity, no power, anything, right? It's not their fault. They gave you what you asked for. You still had your inheritance for that. And then they closed the border. Because you want to try to get back into America now. We want to come back in, Master. No, we don't want you back in here. We sorry, we want to come in. No. That's what you chose. You stay there. They closed the border, so you can't get back in here. You can't get back in America, into what you could call your land now? Swaziland or something? Farrakhan. Maybe call it Traveland. Farrakhan. Named after Farrakhan. Right? So they close the borders, you can't. Because now you're hungry and everything else, your money's worthless. Oh God, come back, Master, I'll come back work for you, I'll work for Popeyes, I'll do anything you want. No, remember, now blacks, either they over in Arabia or they in that land. There are no blacks in America, in places, just in that land, that you 6 states. And now you're starving, you ain't got your money's worthless, nothing works, and they close the border. Right? And then you see Master, he on the phone, you talking to the guy that you kept treating, help you. Hey, we finally got rid of niggas. Finally got rid of them. See, on the phone. Yeah, it worked. We sold them no reparations. We sold them that used car. They turned the miles back and everything else, and they bought it. See? They could have had a BMW. They could have had a Lamborghini. They sold that for a BMW that looked good. Damn thing didn't work. And now they're starving, living in tents. Praying. So what? Then what next? What we gonna do, Farrakhan? You told us to take reparations, so we did. But they gave us everything we asked for. What we gonna do, Farrakhan? What we gonna do? Pray. That's his answer. Pray. That's your reparations. Like Elijah Muhammad said, he had a big picture. We leaving, and blacks staying on the shore, the ones stay behind, and they was whooping their ass. Right? Because they thought you think they were going to give you some land and take care of you? You think they were going to do that? And go bankrupt, give everybody $1 million? How much that is? If it's 17 million, that's 17 million times 17 million times a million is like $17 trillion, I think, something like that there. Then they're gonna do all that for you. They want to get rid of you. So now they have succeeded. Because they closed the border. What you gonna do? You gonna fight to come out? They closed the border. They got the military around there. They finally got rid of you. No more black problem, no more Negro problem anymore. One group's out of here, another group that's here. They're gone, and our hands are clean. We gave them what they wanted. Well, anything. Okay. God honors contracts. Remember he honored the contract with Jacob. Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of soup to Jacob, which was Esau's inheritance, and God honored it. Okay, Jacob, it's yours. You're the one. And that's the deal. Because he ain't your friend. Pharaoh ain't your friend. Pray, pray, pray. That's the answer. And this homeland you was promised, you rejected it. So now you got what you asked for. So if they gave you reparations today or tomorrow, how would that scenario not play out like that? Well, they say, okay, you got it. Tell me how the scenario wouldn't play out like that. And tell me why they wouldn't do it. They love you so much, they're going to say, okay, we're going to take care of them. I mean, why should they go out their way to take care of you when you was right here? You was working at Popeyes and then they get up on Section 8, all that stuff right here, because they're trying to get rid of that stuff right now. Trump's trying to get rid of all that stuff right now. Because they're closing on you don't realize it. Anyway, that's just, that's what's happening over in America. Wow. Boys, come here. Disaster over there. And I just got a call. Oh, wait, hold on. Really? You serious? Our ambassador just got a call from I don't know what they call it Conland or something. I forgot what it's something they call it right there. That 6th day. They begged us to come and help. Can they come over here? Can we come and get them? Really? Can we come and get them and bring them? Oh no. Now he went and asked Master Farad Muhammad, right? He said, no, hell no. We ain't going to get them. And I agree with that. Yeah, the Master said he said, let's call him, and he passed the word to Master Farad Muhammad. Master Muhammad said, send him back. Master, no, we can't come and get you. You made your choice, live with it. Or die, whatever the situation is. Wow. I can't believe that. They actually, right, sent a message over. I don't know how they did. I don't have any communication with it. Somehow they got the information over to him. Said, would we please come and get him? Nope. Said, no, tell him no. And don't waste time communicating with us anymore. You got your land. You got your reparations. You got your money. You got Farrakhan as your leader. Yeah, tell him. Talk to him. Let him straighten out for you. He didn't want to sell you the idea. He was a salesman. So you on that idea of reparations. We told you. Right? Suleiman, right? He was the messenger to you, telling you, look, man, let's go home. You said no. You chose not to. Okay, brothers and sisters, that's a sad story. But I guess that's it. Is that it? Oh, they're not getting more reports on Okay, he says that was Matthew Prophet Muhammad's final decision, and I think they closed communications off from there. So, like I said, brothers and sisters, we got those. Wow, they came in. All that came in today, man. Came in fast. After a whole year, total collapse. Now they begging it. Somebody help them. We can't do it. Maybe Master help you. We won't do it. Assalamu alaikum. Update, brothers and sisters, got another late report in that they said, well, if you want to come and get us, well, we at least send them some food. They begged, said, please send us some food. Master Muhammad said, no, we got to send them a damn thing, nothing, zero. He said, please just send some food. No, I just got that in. He says, if you can't come and get us, please send us some food. He says, no. He refused. I said, boy, I just got the information from the ambassador. He said, they sent that, and he's ready to meet. He says, no. He said, please, just please send us some food. He said, no, no way. You made your choice, case closed. Okay, just got that in, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.